Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here for the 300 throngs of crowds that are here. Give me a cheer, 300. I'm going to give that about 60. Good job. Thank you so much for being here. Before we get going with the official program, I'm going to watch my sanitizing wipe fly away, as well as everything else we own. Fly away. We'll bring that out later. So just to run through a little bit of our COVID protocols before we get the official underway, please do watch your physical distancing and your sanitization throughout the night. We have a number of these tours that are kicking off today, and we want to make sure that everybody stays safe and healthy and happy, of course. So we appreciate everybody joining in on all the weirdness of us spread it out throughout the amphitheater, but we really did want to be able to celebrate this event. For those folks that are coming down to speak this evening, which is a good majority of the crowd, this is my microphone, so I will speak moistly on it, and this is everybody else's microphone. If I have some sanitizing spray here for the microphone, so I'll do that in between speakers, and if we do end up needing to use the podium, I can sanitize that as we go as well. And I would also just ask that any speakers just let me adjust your microphone for you so that I'm the only one touching the stand of the microphone, if you don't mind, would be greatly appreciated. Okay, and then I think the way the evening is going to go, we've got some formal events here and some speaking and a ribbon cutting, and then I'll take everybody out afterwards through this vomitorium to the other end of the site to begin a bit of a site tour, and we'll show you some of the really amazing features of the site. And when we're done that, those folks that are joining us on the boat ride, which I think is most of us, we'll just head down the pathway to the boat there, and we'll park out front of the site and do a little demonstration of our pretty amazing lighting design that we have on the site. So I am going to remove my mask while I'm speaking. If everybody's comfortable with that, I'll make sure that I stay 2 meters apart from everybody, of course. Speakers, feel free to wear your mask or not when you're up here speaking, but if you do take off your mask, just please make sure that you stay 2 meters away from everybody, and as I say, we'll sanitize the things in between. I think that's the COVID protocol rules. So thank you, everybody, for joining in on the weirdness of a grand opening during COVID times. So if we haven't met before, my name is Will Brooks. I'm the artistic producer here at Shakespeare on the Saskatchewan, and drove everybody involved in this project absolutely crazy for the last 6 or 7 years. So I appreciate everybody putting up with my wild ideas and my crazy visions and things like that, and I appreciate everybody coming on board. I'd love to begin by acknowledging that that I and my ancestors are not, in fact, the first people to set foot on these lands, and not the first people to caretake these lands. I'd like to acknowledge the great privilege that we have to be able to create a space like this, and all of the programming that we hope to have in a space like this on these lands. And I'd like to acknowledge that we are gathered here on Treaty 6 territory in the traditional homelands of the Métis. And I'd in particular like to acknowledge the great fortune that we've had as an organization, and that the people involved in the organization in this project have had with the teachings and learnings, and the moving forward of the relationships that we've been able to have during this project. Is my microphone going to come back? I don't know if it is, so I'll just speak louder. You're good? Oh, fantastic. Was I too loud? Lovely. And our great fortune for the deeper understanding of the work that is yet to be done. So it's an honor for us to work every day, not to take that for granted, so we acknowledge that. This project is, of course, the culmination of many, many years of work by staff and volunteers and board members and supporters and partners. What we open today is, of course, on the surface a physical space. But what we're really opening here today is a set of values, a set of visions, and a set of dreams that we can all celebrate and be incredibly proud of. From the beginning, this project has been about better art and about increased accessibility. It's been about the celebration of this area of Saskatoon, of the Meewasin Valley, the traditions of this great festival, and this life-giving river behind me that flows through this land. It's about relationships, and of course, it's about community. Shakespeare. That, of course, is and always has been the core of what we do and the core of the project, but we're so very privileged to be able to not stop there. We're privileged to be able to surround Shakespeare with a massive increase in public accessibility and to be able to finally share this beautiful space with everyone. And most importantly, we're privileged by the relationships and the partnerships that building this physical space has allowed us to create and improve. I'd like to, at this time, invite up Vic Dubois, who's the chair of our board of directors, and Vic will thank and acknowledge some of the supporters that are here in our very intimate gathering here today. We, of course, wish we could have filled these seats with all of our supporters, and trust me, there are so very many people out there who have supported this project. But, of course, we're very glad to have our key supporters here with us today, and Vic will give a shout at some of those folks, and I'll back away. Come on over.
Okay. Thanks, Will. This wind and my hair, all that I have left, are not friends. So at least it won't get in my eyes while I'm standing here. And on behalf of the board of directors, thanking everybody who made this evening possible. And that, of course, is our donors, our sponsors, our patrons, our volunteers, our administrative staff, our artists, for everything they did to make tonight possible. We can't thank them enough. We want to thank everybody for sticking with us through this difficult time, but also an exciting time for the festival when you look at it from a positive angle. And we look forward to better times ahead on this great new site. And if you are joining us online tonight, well, welcome. And I would also like to welcome these very special guests who are here in the Ampitheatre. The Honourable Gordon Wyant, QC, Saskatchewan Deputy Premier and Minister responsible for Sask Builds. And the Minister is accompanied by his wife, Christine Rudka. Just give us a wave when I say everybody, we are on camera. His Worship, Mayor Charlie Clark. Your Worship. Bev Dubois, City Councillor and current Deputy Mayor. Andrea LaFond, the CEO of the Meewasin Valley Authority. Andrea? Don't take my paper away, wind, please. All right, we've got Joseph Naytowhow, our Indigenous Cultural Consultant. Joseph, thank you. We have George Gingras here on behalf of our partners at the Gabriel Dumont Institute. And Cliff Taupison here on behalf of our partners at Saskatoon Tribal Council. Michael Jones, CEO of Sask Arts. Staging the Future Campaign co-chair Irene Seifling. There you are, Irene, and she is accompanied by her husband, Larry. Staging the Future Campaign co-chair Jerry Grandey. Jerry. Gordon McCall, the founding artistic director of Shakespeare on the Saskatchewan from 1985 to 1990. Mark Von Eschen, past artistic director of Shakespeare on the Saskatchewan 2000 to 2014. Where are you, Mark? Well, there you are, up in the back. And we were to have someone representing our festival presenting sponsor Nutrien. Is there somebody here from Nutrien? I don't see any waves, so all right. TJ Keller representing sponsor SaskTel, accompanied by her husband Daryl. Oh, there you are. You're over there. Sorry. I don't recognize people with their masks on. That's the problem. I know you guys, but, you know, not tonight. Kathy Berg, donor and partner to Bob Steen. Kathy. And who else do we have? Malcolm and Marilyn Leggett, major donors. Malcolm and Marilyn, thank you for coming. And we have Troy Smith and Laura Plaus, Group 2 architects. Welcome everybody for coming. Thank you very much. And we'll have a few more speeches as the evening goes on. Looking forward to the boat ride and the light show. So thank you and good night.
I feel like it's a comment on everybody when I do this. Thank you so much, Vic. We are incredibly fortunate to have one of the best board of directors around, and we have, at least in my entire time here, and have through many, many years of Shakespeare on Saskatchewan. So thank you to Vic and all of our board members, many of which, of course, can't fit into the small cohort here this evening, but are absolutely invaluable to the work that we do. So thank you, Vic. And next up, I'd love to invite down our Indigenous consultant, Joseph Naytowhow. Joseph has been an amazing addition addition to this project. His learnings and his teachings that he's offered us and his ceremony have been really, really incredible. So we'd love to invite Joseph down for a few words, and I believe potentially a song to start us off in a great way. So thanks.
You want a song? Okay.
You do you.
You want a song, do you?
Do you want to use this one here, Jason?
Sure. Okay. Tamskat na gakyo, kinaskum na o takapitagotik. Pag tahasagay kinigostin niya, higo, nanaskum mo tamigo stay. Peaks kuyon mamtani tamon no mo tagagipi kuatas tachigo motom kamiasig and pay miunagwa. So that's one of the languages of this area here, Treaty 6, and I'm very happy that it's still a part of me. That's I nearly lost that language, and I'm able to use that language in theater as well as in film with my life in my own world, and I'm very happy that I was part of this process. A lot of discussion went into this, and I'm glad we were included, within this whole preparation and the planning and design and everything. We were welcomed, and it's kind of nerve-wracking sometimes, not knowing where to come from, because we've been compromised in terms of our own world. We're still trying to find our own footing back in terms of what happened in this territory. I'm still trying to find my footing, as an Indigenous person, as someone that can't really identify with Canada, but mostly as an Indigenous person, because that's the truth about where I'm at, and so I can't really, I kind of sit on a fence about being a Canadian, and because it was just brought into my life so abruptly. So apologize for that somewhat, because I think the people that have come here have made efforts to try and cooperate and to work with Meewasin and the cooperation and to get along well. I think that's slowly happening, and we're still having some challenges today. But I think with a project like this, that we all kind of come together with the Gabriel Dumont Institute, the Saskatoon Tribal Council, the City of Saskatoon, SOTS. It's all come together beautifully, and I hope. I don't want to say hope. I know it'll continue, because we can't not continue with what's started. We have to keep on going. So I'm going to sing a little victory song, and this is a song that I heard much later in my life, when I was in my 20s, and after 13 years of being in a residential school, and then going back into my identity. I guess we're Cree. Nihio is a proper term, so that's where I returned to, because it's 5 years old. It's very abrupt to be taken away from your community and your stories and your songs and everything. But the songs that I heard were from the powwow community, from the powwow culture, which was brought to us by the Dakota people. So this is the victory song, because I believe it's a great victory. And I'll sing a little bit of one of my songs, what it takes for people to work together. We are all one people, we all come from one creation way on high. We are all one nation under one great sky, you and I. We are all one people, we are all one color in her eyes, in his eyes. How mamuta moximanto niawako tapik. Agana nascomp nanik duty. How tomos gagwat staticomuta Shakespeare on the Saskatchewan Kaiseihatik. Tätä skoska mitto ehkä kui sknamo sekä sino ke somno. Tän somegi pispäigu tegi anomine pitutu inok. Ota kai seha tikom Canada maga kigano kikawi noski. So ita no somga tepska kakio mi opaik. Kaka mimoak perseverance ka heayak. Ego mi nayak sagiton love. Ego mi na temagiton empathy. Ego mi nexiwa taton kindness. Ego no man kom somno ka itu itse ko komnog. Ego no Heppen Tsama, you come back up Matson, Thank you very much. Have a great evening and look forward to the boat ride.
Thank you so very much, Joseph, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing your Naytowhow teachings and culture with us, and in particular sharing your truth and your honesty and your humanity. It's a gift that we can't appreciate enough. So thank you for that. Next up, coming to us via the wonders of the internet, and we'll see how our technology works here, we have the Honourable Stephen Dubois, Minister of Canadian Heritage, to bring greetings on behalf of the federal government.
Hello everyone, bonjour. Congratulations to everyone on the Shakespeare in the Saskatchewan on the grand opening of your new and improved festival site. I'm sure this is not quite the way you imagine what you would be celebrating this milestone. I was sorry to hear that, like so many summer festival Canadians look forward to every year, the COVID-19 pandemic forced you to postpone your 2020 session. Cela dit, je sais que vous êtes ravis que votre vision pour le Shakespeare on the Saskatchewan Festival devienne réalité. C'est un plaisir de faire partie de ces festivités d'ouverture qui annoncent un brillant avenir et de belles saisons en perspective. The Government of Canada is so pleased to have contributed to the development of this site through the Department of Canadian Heritage Cultural Space Fund and the Community, Cultural and Recreation stream of the Investing in Canada plan. Welcoming, dedicated, and well-equipped cultural spaces are essential to fostering the creativity and artistic collaboration that allow Canadian arts and culture to thrive. Our cultural spaces are the bedrock of our communities. They are the places where we gather together to enjoy the experiences that unite us. They are the places where we make our visitors feel welcome and where we share our stories and our talents with the world. We are proud to do our small part to help keep the banks of the South Saskatchewan River alive with the unique energy, rhythm, and excitement of Shakespearean theater. But it is you, the organizers, the performers, the volunteers, who deserve all the credit for this success and how Shakespeare on the Saskatchewan has become such an iconic part of the city of Saskatoon. Merci, thank you.
Thank you so much to Minister Dubois for sending us that message. Of course, it's at this time it's pretty tough to fly across the country to enjoy an opening, so we appreciate that very much. This project, we have to say, the Department of Canadian Heritage and the ICIP funding that we were able to work with the City of Saskatoon to apply for, which is partially federally funded and partially provincially funded, is an absolute game changer for what we were able to accomplish on this site. So it really does need to be noted, the importance of that funding and that support from the federal government. And next up, we have to speak about the other half of that, the amazing support that we've had from the provincial government in general, as well as through that particular funding. So we do have Gordon Wyant, and I'd love to invite him up, the Saskatchewan Deputy Premier and the Minister responsible for Sask Builds. Good evening, Mr. Wyant.
That's good. Yeah, that's great. Well, thanks very much, Will. Good evening, everyone. I too would like to acknowledge that we're on Treaty 6 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis, and we acknowledge that in the spirit of reconciliation. And thanks, Joseph, for your words and your song today to start the evening off in a good way. Thank you very much for that. I think you've given us all something to think about, so thank you. So on behalf of Premier Scott Moe and the Government of Saskatchewan, it's my great pleasure to be here this evening. I too would like to acknowledge each and every one of you for being here, and thank Vic for acknowledging the names of everyone that's been attending and the supporters that are here. I'd also like to thank everyone from Shakespeare on the Saskatchewan for hosting and organizing this event. I would also like to offer some special recognition From a grateful province to the co-chairs of Staging the Future campaign, Irene, Seifling, and Jerry Grandey, for their immense efforts in fundraising for this project, and also to acknowledge all those who generously supported this very important project on the banks of the South Saskatchewan. Now, thanks to all of you. To be or not to be is no longer the question. As tonight we gather to mark the official grand opening of upgrades to the Shakespeare on the Saskatchewan Festival site. The redevelopment of this site enables Shakespeare on the Saskatchewan to extend its programming season. This will allow them to stage more productions and to celebrate the skills and talents of local Saskatchewan artists. This investment will make cultural opportunities accessible to all members of our communities, both performers and audience members. There will also be improvements to the working conditions for staff and performers, while venue access, on-site safety, and the overall audience experience has been enhanced. So if you thought the performances were incredible before, they're about to get even better. For over 35 years, Shakespeare on the Saskatchewan has been a lively staple of culture in this great city. What was once a showing of A Midsummer Night's Dream in a used tent is now officially part of the physical landscape of the city of Saskatoon. The government of Saskatchewan is proud to play a role in supporting this cultural institution through making these upgrades a reality by investing more than $1.3 million toward this endeavor. I too would like to acknowledge the government of Saskatchewan, or the government of Canada, for its funding commitments that have already been acknowledged, and to thank Minister Dubois and Minister McKenna for their outstanding support. And of course, the investments by the city of Saskatoon, Shakespeare on the Saskatchewan, as well as many others. It is really the community's hard work, their determination and belief in an idea that helped this project come to fruition. The incredible volunteer efforts that have made this project a success of Shakespeare on the Saskatchewan to become a reality. That strength and that resilience to see something through to the end is part of the character of Saskatchewan people. So congratulations to Shakespeare on the Saskatchewan and the city of Saskatoon for a job well done, and 35 years of success and many more to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Minister. Now, I have to point out that at the last announcement that we had you at, when the actual amount of funding that we were receiving for my CIP was announced, I couldn't control myself, and I gave Minister Wyant a giant hug on stage in front of everybody, embarrassed him crazily, I'm sure. So we're just lucky that here today, with all of the wonderful supporters that we have, that the pandemic and my spray here holds me back from hugging everybody. Otherwise, it might get a little crazy. Next up, we'd like to hear some words on behalf of the city, and we have Mayor Clark here to join us to speak on behalf of the city. And I do have to say that the two partners that we had in this project that have really gone above and beyond and redefined the nature of how we work together are the City of Saskatoon and the Meewasin Valley Authority. Having those two core partners as part of this project from the very beginning has been immensely helpful to us, and I think that the building of that relationship has helped us all create a better Saskatoon. So I thank the City of Saskatoon and invite Mayor Clark up to say a few words.
Thank you very much, Will. And I don't know about you, but sitting there in this setting, listening to Joseph's prayer and looking at the setting, it's not the setting sun, but the evening light, and this accessibility of the river, isn't this absolutely spectacular? And I know the vision of this site was to help us redefine our relationship with the river and in the city. And so in terms of your ability to succeed, and then also grounded in the fact that this has been the gathering place for the Indigenous community for many generations, and now for all of the generations of people who moved to this city to have experiences together. Congratulations, because I am just enjoying this setting so much already. And starting off with that connection of who we are in this place and Treaty 6 territory is a great way to start. And so I want to start by recognizing Deputy Premier Wyant. I can tell you firsthand that he fought for this project, and I saw it, and I saw the battles with the federal government. I saw the advocacy within your own cabinet to make sure that this got through and that we were able to get that support and that funding through the ISIP program. And so I just want everybody to know that it doesn't happen by accident to have that support, as well as the support from the federal government. Councillor Dubois is here, Deputy Mayor Dubois. Councillor Davies was meant to be here, but he's out there right now on the streets because we're facing some real challenges with ambulance services and some of the issues that we're facing right now. So he wanted to send his regrets. And to everybody else who's here, I thank you all for coming and for joining us. And I want to say, Will, I remember when you told me we've got our finances in a good spot. You know, for the first time, Shakespeare's in a pretty good place, and so we want to do something big. And we have a bold idea to take it from there and not just sit on the laurels of having finances in a good place, but actually do something transformational with the site. And it was a crazy idea back then. I mean, even then I thought, wow, okay, good for you. I mean, but that's not going to be easy to actually put it all together and make it happen. And so congratulations to you. You got Irene and Jerry involved, and Irene and Jerry, perfect people to bring in and have a bold vision to do something to help create an incredible experience for citizens here. And I know for both of you, it was about also creating better places along the riverbank for us to have experiences and to offer to citizens how to experience our city in different ways. And so thank you both, and to donors like Malcolm and the Leggett family and everybody else, SaskTel, all of the donors who've come forward to make this possible. It wouldn't happen without you, and the partnerships with the Tribal Council and Gabriel Dumont Institute to make sure that this is forward thinking about new relationships and new ways of partnering and working together and telling our stories here on this riverbank. And as noted with Meewasin, and I remember walking by one day just on I forget what was going on, but I was going from one place to the other, and there was this whole group of people over just in the trees over there, and they were having a planning session because they were wanting to talk about how to design the trails. And it was staff from the Meewasin, it was staff from the city, it was members of Shakespeare, it was people from, I think, maybe the Nature Society and other groups that were all, and it was a very dynamic conversation going on. You could tell people were excited. They were working together extremely well and building an idea together. And it's we just at Meewasin board passed the trail improvements for the area over here to create a better experience. And this whole section we can see going right through the site is going to be absolutely phenomenal. And so that's because of great partnerships. And that has been what has made this possible. And but it takes really great relationship building to make that happen. And so to Will and to everybody who's been part of that, congratulations. What I also love about this site is it's going to be a place that we can gather right through the year. And building a winter city and creating ways for us to enjoy the city and get out in winter is a huge part of what will make this a more attractive, more dynamic city into the future. And so, and I look forward to seeing how we're going to be able to utilize this space. So I don't want to take a lot more time, but I do want to say, when you see something from that first idea to being able to stand here together on this incredible site, it is really a phenomenal thing, and it's so much hard work. So congratulations to everybody involved. Have a great rest of your evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mayor Clark. And I remember that meeting, absolutely. I think it was Rick Ewan, our previous board chair, and myself that came to have a chat about the project. And, you know, it kind of blows my mind going from that stage to where we stand today. We had a pretty bold vision. We had a pretty big idea, and we did want to do something with it. And we wanted to offer something to the city of Saskatoon, to the, you know, not the city of Saskatoon, the entity, but the city of Saskatoon, the people. And that was important for us. But it's really blown my mind how every single step of the way people have gotten behind it, and the vision has grown, and the vision has gotten better, and the vision has gotten more complex with the rich partnerships that have been involved. And that's been the gift that we've received, that literally every single step of the way, when we said, hey, want to come on board with this crazy idea that we got? And whether it was Mayor Clark or Jerry and Irene or the Saskatoon Tribal Council or GDI or, any of the folks that are here, people said yes. Every single time people said yes, and then they stood behind it and they did the work and they helped. And it's truly mind-blowing, the gift that we've received as an organization to be able to create a space like this. I'd love to invite Andrea LaFond, CEO of Meewasin Valley Authority, down. And as I was saying a moment ago, the City of Saskatoon and the MVA have been crucial partners on this, and Meewasin went so far as to invite us into their parts of the project. So they were able to come on and say, you know what, they'll relook at the timeline of when they would work on these pathways surrounding us and how they can help enhance the work that we're doing. And they actually invited us to be part of that project so that we could have a voice on behalf of all of our stakeholders in the work that they are doing. And it's the designs that are coming with the pathways and the parking lot and the city washroom that's being built this fall are really quite amazing. When we do our tour, I'll show you a few renderings of some of the things that are coming up. But thank you so much, Andrea.
Awesome. All right. So good evening, everyone. Meewasin has been River Valley stewards for the last 41 years. And as we do our stewardship, we recognize and humbly honor our traditional caretakers of the land on Treaty 6 territory and the homeland of our Métis. Joseph, I want to thank you for your honor song. Very much appreciated and very meaningful for today, and thank you. I want to acknowledge our dignitaries, the guests, and to everyone on Team Shakespeare who has put in countless time, necessary resources to ensure Staging the Future campaign was a success. So as I speak, whenever I say Shakespeare team, that encompasses everybody that's here today. So donors, board members, team, staff, everybody. Alan did invite me to say a few words about Meewasin. And as I started to think about the project, and of course, Will said it's been about 6 or 7 years. I'm only 2 years in. I still remember back to a very cold -40 day. I think it was 6 in the morning, going to CTV to do some media interviews. It was extremely cold, like right at Christmas time. And here we are today, standing here. So this is absolutely amazing. So I do want to take a few moments to speak about the project and really what excited Meewasin, our team, myself, when we started to see some of the concepts and designs. Obviously, from Meewasin's perspective, the accessibility to trail users straight through the site and closer access to the river, but the efficiencies. So as a leader as well, anytime you can create efficiencies and really understanding, I got to learn firsthand the time it took to prepare the venue and the facility each year, and so really understanding the efficiencies that this will create for the staff, and that really allows them to enhance the experiences. And certainly during COVID, we're going to see, obviously, a focus on domestic tourism, so really increasing the experience for our community, and longer term, in a few years, out to international travelers. I really appreciated learning about the incorporation of the contemplation site. I thought that was really important to acknowledge that history and give people that space to be able to, come out, contemplate, as well as the visionary partnerships. So I was able to learn about the involvement with Saskatoon Tribal Council and GDI and a whole host of multiple stakeholders, and how they'll also have access to the space and how it will be year-round. So we got very excited. So our whole team is so excited to see the success now and into the future. And I thought I'd talk a little bit about some of the Meewasin news, because everyone's chatted a bit about what's coming up and what's happening. So obviously, like I said, I've been in the role for about 2 years, and it's been a really awesome opportunity to be able to serve our diverse community and work throughout our valley. And I've learned a lot. Our mandate, Meewasin's mandate, for those of you that don't know, is to conserve, develop, and educate on the cultural and natural resources for the South Saskatchewan River Valley for present and future generations. Throughout our global pandemic, we have experienced overwhelming utilization and appreciation and support of Meewasin through our resilient community. Meewasin in our River Valley has provided necessary amenities and access for physical and mental health of our community as we all work our way through an unprecedented time ensuring health and safety of all during our COVID-19 pandemic. So we took under the project in partnership, I would say, with Shakespeare, and inclusion of many other partners and stakeholders, as well as we have gone through public consultation digitally in a new, unique way on the Kinsman Riverfront project. So Mayor Clark mentioned our groups have been huddling, and so some of those concepts for the areas that you'll start to see are widening of the trails, including we're going to add additions of seating nodes and seating as well as interpretive nodes. The parking lot will be reconfigured, and I think a lot of folks are very excited about the parking lot out of everything. And there will be some additional spots for parking and better accessibility and turnarounds too. There'll be enhanced accessibility down to the Prairie Lily. And really important to note, because we do anticipate the project, depending on how funds come in, to take 1 to 2 years, that there will be vegetation initially impacted, because some of you will actually get calls. However, our concept plans are online, and there will be increased vegetation post-construction. So, on behalf of Meewasin, but also and Shakespeare, I cannot stress enough the importance of inclusion, partnerships, funding partners, donors, and teams to take visions and turn them into successes for our community. So I want to say a huge congratulations to Team Shakespeare, which is pretty much everybody, so everyone can pat themselves on the back. But I want everyone to take care and stay healthy and enjoy our River Valley tour. So thank you.
Fantastic. Yeah, and again, we can't thank the Meewasin Valley Authority. And if you get a chance, do check out, if you haven't already, all of the information of some of these trail upgrades in the parking lot and things like that. That's on the Meewasin site. They've done a wonderful job of a makeover for this site that's going to happen over the next couple of years. So we're very, very much looking forward to that and appreciative of being part of that and having a voice in that. Okay, next up we have a duo, and we might have to figure out how to do microphones in between. I'm not sure how we're doing this, but we've got the wonderful Jerry Grandey and the wonderful Irene Seifling. So when these two folks came on board with our capital campaign, obviously raising the finances for a project like this is a massive challenge for an organization like us. We had the great fortune of having DCG Philanthropic, as well as these two amazing human beings who the city of Saskatoon owes more than I think any of us can ever put down on paper for the multitude of projects that they've helped with, and to be able to have the help that you provided for this project and this fundraising has been amazing. And I'd also like to add that both Jerry and Irene did an amazing job, not only raising the funds and raising the profile and getting the word out there, but also supporting us behind the scenes, helping us to do our jobs better, helping to make this project better. The day that Jerry said, "Have you thought about lighting?" was at the time I didn't know it, but was a huge turning point for us. And there are many of those that happen behind the scenes with Jerry and Irene. So thank you very much, and come on down. Maybe we might have to swap back and forth on this microphone. But I'm armed. Oh, you're in the same bubble. Then go to town.
Do you want to go first? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Do you want to bring that down a bit?
Yeah.
You can stay there because you're going to have to raise it in a moment.
I can do that.
Yeah. Thanks, Jerry. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for having us here. It's such a privilege to be here. Jerry always makes me do this, and it's a good thing because I usually forget some things I should say, and then he fills in the gap and does much better than I do. In the year 2020, it's a privilege to have something to celebrate. And this is quite something spectacular that we have to celebrate here tonight. Not only did we enhance the Shakespeare site so we can show off a lot of our local talent and other talent, but we've opened the stage and our eyes and our hearts to the riverbank. And isn't that fabulous? When you see it, you think, how on earth did we miss that over all these years? It's stunning. And hundreds of people are going to enjoy this gift every day when they walk by here. This kind of a project doesn't come about unless there's a lot of hard work by a lot of people, and a number of those people have been mentioned already. It's our volunteers, it's the Shakespeare staff, and they're an extraordinary, enthusiastic, hardworking team, and it was wonderful to work with them. And also the board of directors. Rick Ewan was the president first, and now Vic and the board of directors. We knew you supported us all the time, and we were grateful. I want to say something about our volunteer campaign committee. It saddens me that they can't be here with us tonight, so you can see all those wonderful people who put time and effort in. I hope their names will be listed somewhere on the website or wherever other wonderful places, and you'll know who they are. We know they're here in spirit, and we're thinking of them. The other people who are critical to the success of a campaign like this are, of course, the donors. And we have so many huge-hearted donors in this city. And first and number one amongst those is my remarkable co-chair, Jerry Grandey. He came out of the gate first with a $500,000 gift to make this project just take off with great dynamism right at the start. And he was wonderful to work with throughout the entire campaign. His gift inspired a lot of other gifts, including gifts from special people like Malcolm and Marilyn Leggett, and they, among so many others, are generous in so many community activities. Wally and Colleen Ma, Greg and Olivia Ewell, the Rawlinsons, Nutrien. Cliff, you helped us with the Nutrien gift, and so many others. Please take time and look at the donor wall, and you'll see all those names. So I want to say thank you to our donors, but I also want to say when you give truly from your heart with time and money, that gift comes back in multiple ways. So for each and every one of you who contribute to this project, you will know that you have a standing legacy. And for every one of those hundreds and thousands of people that walk and run by here and stop, and when they smile, it's a gift and an acknowledgement to each one of you. Oh, I forgot to mention the government. How could I do that? You're right. We pestered Gord, and he tolerated us. So thank you also to the government of the Canadian government of Canadian Heritage. They were also very generous. But I'll tell you, we knew Gord, absolutely, Charlie. Gord was an advocate for us, not only with the government, but throughout the entire project, as was Charlie Clark. We knew that we had his support throughout the entire project. He was working for us and working the rooms whenever he went out and about. So thank you to all of you as well.
Yep. You want to spray it, or you want to spray me?
Are you bubbled? I don't know. Just in case.
Thank you very much, Will. So I always choose to go after Irene because she's so eloquent and thanks everybody. And so I usually just stand up and say, yep, echo what she said, and then we can get on with the evening. And so, and I will adopt the team Saskatchewan, team Shakespeare analogy, because that makes it very easy. So Irene, I just, we sort of embarked upon this about 3 years ago, and I just simply want to thank you for all that you've done, for the inspiration, for the way in which you've managed our wonderful committee, and all that you've done. It's been an absolute pleasure to work on really the vision that Will and Alan and all of the Shakespeare staff painted about 3 years ago. And I have to admit, like many people, I was a little bit skeptical. I mean, this was the last undeveloped section of the river on the city side. It was kind of overgrown with invasive species, usable by Shakespeare for about 2 months of the year, and then closed down and inaccessible by the rest of the community. But when Will and Alan kind of began to paint this vision, a venue that was not going to be used just for Shakespeare, but was going to be usable by civic groups, by art groups, community at large, get winterized washrooms, get a better view of the river. Runners got behind it, bikers got behind it. So it was a much bigger team, a much bigger partnership than just Shakespeare. One of the things, and Will kind of let it out when he mentioned lighting, this is what really intrigued me when I sort of had the thought pop into my head. Well, we really ought to integrate some of this modern technology, not just into lamps, but into the design and into the structure. I haven't seen it. Tonight I think we will, and we'll see, Will, how all that planning came forward. So I'm not going to go down the list of people again to thank. Irene has done it. Virtually every speaker has done it. But from me, from the committee, from Irene, from everybody, a big, big, heartfelt thank you. And enjoy this site for many, many years to come. And with that, Will, I'll turn it back to you. Thank you.
I hope you like it. I'm not sure if we actually forewarned them beforehand. You're off the hook. You're good. It's somebody else. Yeah, I'd love to invite Mayor Clark and Andrea LaFond and Michael Jones from SaskArts to come on down here. We're going to make you cut the ribbon in a moment, if that's okay. So feel free to come on down, as I've got just a couple of last thank yous before we get into our ribbon cutting. So I would like to give a shout out to a couple of folks. Oh, that'd be fantastic, Alan, if you can get that set up. That'd be awesome. To a couple of folks that can't be here with us today but deserve, yeah, come on down, Alan, we'll get you all set up. But deserve a huge shout out, as well as a couple of folks that are with us here today. I'd like to mention Kurt Halpenny and Rick Ewan, who have been the chairs of our build committee throughout this process, as well as the whole build committee that helped out. You can probably just come on down here, folks, and Alan will get you all set up. You're good. Yeah, I'm a director. Go, move, stage left. So those two individuals have done a massive amount of work on this project, as well as various other projects in the city. And way up in the right-hand corner there, I'd like to give a shout-out to Laura and Troy, who are Group 2 Architecture and Design. Their team has done an absolutely stunning job. They were amazing at listening to our values. They were amazing at helping us with stakeholder processes. This is not an easy project to throw at an architect, I guarantee. We have probably not made their life easy, but the way they've managed to pull all of the strings together and pull off the design that they did is truly impressive. So a big thank you to them. I'd also love to give a shout out to all of the artists throughout Shakespeare on the Saskatchewan's history. We have Mark Von Eschen and Gordon McCall here with us today, our founding artistic director and founder in general, as well as one of our longtime artistic directors to represent. But there are so many artists and technicians who are part of the Shakespeare family who have helped with the audiences to create the magic that we have had for the last 35 years. And building on the success of all of those 10 years and eras is the only way that we're able to pull off something like this and to set this organization up for an amazing future. So thank you to you two, and thank you to all of the artists that have been part of this festival as we go. And last but absolutely never least, a huge shout out in particular to the core staff who have slaved tirelessly to be dedicated to this vision and to bring it to life. So in particular, the wonderful Alan Long to my right, Melanie Rogowski, who's not allowed in our 30, so is outside the site right now, and Christy Friday, our special projects coordinator, as well as all of our seasonal staff and our interns, and our summer staff running around cleaning and sanitizing and getting things ready. So a huge thank you to all of our things. Okay, all right, folks, it's time to cut the ribbon. But before we do, Michael, I have to say I picked like the biggest sword that I could possibly pick. So first off, I need to see your excellent Shakespeare on the Saskatchewan fight choreography stance. Fantastic. Now I need to hear your blood-curdling yell. Okay, how about if we help him out? On the count of 3, blood-curdling yell for him, and we'll have to hold that thing fairly tight so that he can rip it in the middle. We're going to go in the front. Okay, fantastic. Okay, well, let's practice while they're getting set up. So I need a blood-curdling warrior yell. Pretend you're Julius Caesar on the battlefield before he gets stabbed multiple times. For everybody, this is a practice run, so don't hit it yet, Michael. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're going to try that one more time, but a little better. Mike, Mark in the back, and Gord, I know you have this blood-curdling yell in you, so let's give it to it. This time you're going to hit it. 1, 2, 3. Fantastic. The magic of Velcro works again. We look forward to the next couple of weeks. We've got a number of tours for stakeholders and partners and things like that that's supported by the great folks at SaskTel. Thank you very much for sponsoring those events. So for folks on the internet, if you don't get a chance, the site will open to the public September 14th at 9 a.m. We do have some events that it eventually gets closed for, but we'll keep that open for the public as much as humanly possible. So we're going to head out on a little tour and a little ride on the Prairie Lily. But before we do, I think it's appropriate if we end off with some of the words of the great playwright William Shakespeare. We chose an excerpt from The Tempest, the great words of Prospero, which should have been spoken on this stage by the wonderful Saskatoon artist Kent Allen this summer. Of course, that was not to be, so I'm going to do a hack job compared to what Kent would have done. And I think this is a beautiful piece to remind us that while we're building a physical space, and we're very, very, very proud of the physical space that we've built, the reason we built it is for the people. And the work that happens here is much more ephemeral than the actual physical space, whether that be the art, the ceremony, the events, and the gatherings that we've all dreamed of happening and that will now happen here in the future. So, as Prospero would have said, our revels are now ended. These are actors, as I foretold, were all spirits, and melted into the air, into the thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the horn of the prairie lily, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, and the great globe itself, yea, all which it inherit shall dissolve, and like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a rack behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with sleep. So I'd love it if you could all join me. We'll maybe head out through that vom where the camera is, so that we don't step over some cords and things. Just be gentle. And I'll meet you at the other end of the site, and we'll give you a little tour of some of the beautiful features of this space before we head over to the boat. Thank you so much, everybody. Yeah. Put on your sweaters. Now's the chilly part of the night. So thanks very much, folks. We'll head out through this exit here and meet you over at the other end of the site. Thanks.